This week on the Digital Marketing Scoop, we're talking about digital marketing myths. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. So this week we're going to be chatting about some of the myths around digital marketing. So kind of in the industry, you know, in the SEO world, in the digital marketing world, there's a lot of information, misinformation. Cowboys Ted. So there's a lot of stuff that, you know, you might have heard that's probably total and utter complete BS basically.
Yeah.
So we have kind of 10 of them lined up, we'll say. Now there's a hell of a lot more than 10.
Definitely.
But I suppose look, we'll go through these 10 anyway, because I think they're probably quite common ones basically.
Yeah.
So the first one we'll look at is that SEO, search engine optimization, is kind of a set it and forget it. You do it once and that's it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's very much not that at all.
No, that couldn't be. That's definitely a myth.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you set it and if you set your SEO and did some work on it a year and a half ago, what have your competition done since? You know, and rankings are constantly shifting on a weekly, hourly basis. Probably, you know, it's one of those things that should be definitely reviewed every 3 months anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends. Look on your business. It depends on a whole number of factors, but basically. That, you know, always adding content to your site, getting links back in from other websites to your site. It's an ongoing process. It's not something you do once, forget it. Oh, brilliant, I'm at position 3 in Google. Then you forget about it and you come back 2 years later and you're nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and exactly. And especially like people constantly update their website probably with images and things like that. And you're probably not thinking, oh, SEO with this, but actually, you know, make sure you make it smaller. You know, all of these little things that kind of tie into your SEO as well. Like, and it'll, you know, for your page speed, all of those are ranking factors as well. I mean, around that. So all those little things, consider those all part of like not your set it and forget it, but your ongoing process of continual improvement. And
I suppose the other part of it is it's not something you have to do. Oh, I have to get all this done all at once. It can completely ongoing process. Yeah, just making your content better, making your site faster, doing all this over time. Yeah.
It's all about the gradual, because like there's so much. It's completely overwhelming if you were handed a website to go fix everything. Like you'd be there for a couple of weeks for the most usually. Like, so you just need to kind of really break it down and just go, right, this week we're going to fix this next week we'll fix that, and go on from there.
So I suppose kind of myth number 2 we have here is in regards to social media, that it's all about the followers. And really it's all about the engagement. Yeah.
Like, who cares if you have 10,000 followers if only 2 people are liking your post, or not even liking your post, but I mean clicking through to your website.
Yeah.
What uses the other 9,998?
I always call it the glamour number.
The glamour, glamour metrics. Vanity metrics. Really.
Yeah. Because I mean, at the end of the day, as you say, if you have 10,000 followers and then you have a couple of people actually engaging with your content, it doesn't matter. You're better off having 50 people like your page and 30 of them are like really actively engaging with you, and you're building that audience.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like if you have 50 solid people who are regularly engaging, like communicating with you and going through to your website, that's hugely valuable. I mean, if your competitor, you're kind of comparing yourself to them on followers and they've got thousands, but you look at their page and you can't really see much engagement, you're probably performing better than them despite them having so many more followers. Like it's
definitely don't worry about your followers so much, worry more about your engagement, really.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
Third one is, so once you've done a cycle of creative testing, so split testing on whether that's your ads or your website or whatever, that you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
And this, I know you're sick of us talking about
We're
split
banging
testing.
This drum.
But it is very much that once you've done that test, then time to start with that new results, to start another test basically.
Yeah. It's continuous improvement. I think a lot of people think digital marketing, set it up, right, it's done. It is continual improvement, because it's one of those things where even as an agency we can't say, right, this creative is going to get you X amount of results. It's impossible for us to know that. So what we have to do is put it out, see how it works, test it against something else, whichever, and keep going until we can say this is what's working. And even at that point, we'll still have to keep improving constantly. Yeah.
And our fourth myth kind of ties in with this a little bit, because the fourth one is that your creatives, so your ads, they have to be perfect.
Yeah.
And really you're better off getting it out there, testing and constantly improving, because what's perfect in your head with regards your ad that you put out there may not be exactly what your customer wants to see.
No, and I think this is a huge issue internally in companies. Like if you think of, say, well, I'll just use Twitter as an example. Like the lifespan of a tweet is 9 to 18 minutes or something ridiculous. I mean, if you're spending 2 hours in the morning going back and forth with people going, is this picture okay to go out on Twitter? I mean,
we'll have a meeting.
Yeah, we'll have a meeting about that. And then, I mean, you could be back and forth for hours. I just it's just one of those things that it just completely slows down business. And it's such a fast moving environment, especially on Facebook and Instagram as well at the moment, where the algorithm is just knocking anything that's up there for even just a few hours. Like as soon as any bit of time has passed, it's gone. No one's going to see it anyway, you know. You just need to actually a little bit of volume is kind of necessary in digital marketing, especially for Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. LinkedIn not so much, but you need to be able to do it faster, and if you're working to flawless every single time, it's not going to work.
And the way I always look at it is if you put up something in it and it doesn't work, you've learned something from that.
Exactly.
So take that knowledge and improve it the next time. But if you're constantly just tweaking, you're not actually pushing content out there, then you're never going to get the results you want.
No. And the only time you need to sit down and make sure it's flawless is if it's controversial in any way, shape or form. But I would stay away from that anyway. Yeah.
Myth number 5, retargeting is creepy.
This is yes and no, really. It depends on how the company is doing it. Yes, you absolutely can get creepy with retargeting. But yes, you absolutely don't need to be creepy with remarketing either, and have it probably work better for you.
I think maybe it's more even than creepy is more annoying. Is what I would say, and that comes down to making sure you're capping the frequency people are seeing the ads. You're filtering out people who've already purchased the product. You're doing all that kind of stuff to make it more subtle and more friendly. So yes, I suppose in a way it may be a myth, but it suppose it can be creepy or can be annoying, but it's how you set it up and how you use it that determines whether it will be or not.
I think when people are bombarded, that's when they're just like, oh, this is annoying, how are they following me? And then they start thinking about, what have I done that has created this situation? And that's when people are like, oh, this is creepy or annoying. So if you just kind of take a little bit of, we did a podcast recently on remarketing, and we had some tips in there on kind of keeping it a little bit more subtle and providing value, and that's probably the best way to go about it without coming across annoying.
So our next one, myth number 6, digital marketing should be free. So
I've heard this one.
So I suppose I think the perceived value of digital versus traditional, there's still very much a high perceived value on things like radio and TV and those areas. Whereas when people think of digital, that perceived value, I think, is for whatever reason a lot lower. And they think that how can I put this, that they feel they shouldn't be paying to reach, we'd say, if they're reaching 1,000 people on Facebook versus reaching 1,000 people on radio, people perceive those very, very differently. They still hold right now, I don't know how long it'll last, but right now the radio is still, or the TV is regarded a lot higher. Yeah,
and one of those things that strikes me as odd is because in my mind, and I don't really know if I'm right or wrong, to be honest, but I sometimes consider those kind of TV metrics and stuff as a little bit like the followers and likes.
Yeah.
They're not really that set in stone. You can't be guaranteed that many people are watching, say, a certain TV channel at a certain time of the evening. I mean, they'll assume that there's a family in front of the TV as opposed to one person in front of the TV, and little things like that when they're kind of giving you viewer numbers and stuff. It can work. It's touch and go, but like with digital marketing being like, at the end of the day, people people have provided you with the data in one sense that you're using to retarget people with as well.
And plus the fact is today people who do have TV, they're using their Sky Q and they're fast forwarding through the ads or whatever. Now, and the same, you know what, let be for both sides of the story here. If we look at Facebook, when you look at, we'll say, video metrics and stuff like that, they may only spit back, you might be looking at the first 3 seconds, so they're saying the first 3 second views of the video. Yeah. So it's important to balance it like that, but certainly the perceived value for now on stuff like TV and radio is higher, but digital marketing certainly shouldn't be free. I mean, there's a huge amount of work, even forgetting the ad platforms. Yeah. If you're just putting yourself out there on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, in developing all that content that's going to go out there. So forgetting the ad platforms, just producing the content, whether that's video, podcasts, blogs, all that type of content. A huge amount of work can go into that, especially producing good content. Yeah, and that's a huge aspect of digital marketing that people undervalue, is the time that goes into content creation, because so often you'd like videos, especially, people imagine that they're, as soon as the video is done, you just export it and it's done. Whereas actually just editing, you're going to have to sync up sound, you're going to have to cut it, you're going to, subtitles especially. Yep. There's so much that goes into content. And then at the end of the day, if something is of value to your company, it's probably worth something, not free, So Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms provide value to you because they're bringing customers to you. The platforms are free. Yeah. But to really get the most out of them, you're going to have to invest time, money, and experience into them, really. Exactly, yeah. So the other myth we have here, number 7, digital marketing can bring in overnight success. I suppose we kind of see this here sometimes, where people develop a new website, but they don't want to do the marketing side of it. Yeah. They feel, my website's up and running now. That's it. And that's it. Yeah. But I always say, just building a website and not marketing is basically like building a business in the middle of a field out in the country. It's not like brick and mortar. It's not, my shop's on Patrick Street where there's footfall. Once your website goes up, there's no footfall. Yeah, nobody knows about it. What's that old phrase? And build it and they will come. Yeah, that's not going to work on a website. That doesn't really work in digital. No. So you're either have something that's going to attract attention and spread kind of virally, and that people word of mouth will do the work for you, or you look at the digital marketing side to spread that word of mouth for you. Yeah. But it's certainly not an overnight. There's no overnight successes, and digital marketing isn't going to bring you overnight successes. Going back to our split testing, always those incremental improvements are hugely important. Yeah, and even it's every day just getting just that even fraction, 0.5%, 1% more, it's always just that gradual improvement, because as well as that, a lot of the platforms are quite saturated with ads as well. So especially you have to imagine that your ads are competing with other ads as well. So you can't just have overnight success especially if you're in a really competitive space. Yeah. Yeah. Myth number 8 we have here. So this one we'll see what you think. Okay. So my business should be on every social platform. Should it be on every platform? I would be inclined to say the platform's free. You may as well be on all of them. Yeah. And push your content out. But if you're just going to be on them for the sake of being on them, are you probably better off focusing on the one or two you're really good at? Yeah, I'd be of the argument of I'd be of the argument, and I've seen it before, of just picking the ones that are where you feel that your target audience are most prevalent on, that are doing engaging and interacting most, and focus on getting those right first at least. Yep. And then I don't think that you shouldn't have a non-existent presence on something. I mean, if you have a Twitter account and you don't ever use it, there's no harm in just pinning a tweet to the top and saying, actually, we feel like we better engage with our customers on Instagram. Here's a link to our Instagram account. Yeah. Little things like that can kind of, but if you're on it, you either need to do it right, or just kind of make sure you're directing people to where you do it right. Yeah. Yeah. So myth number 9, and this is probably one of my favorites and one I encounter quite a bit, is that my industry doesn't need or isn't exciting enough for digital marketing, or doesn't need a website, it doesn't need an online presence. And to be honest, that's basically like saying your business doesn't need oxygen in this day and age. I can't think of any business anywhere that shouldn't have a presence online.
Yeah, I think that always strikes me as odd when people are like, oh, my industry isn't exciting enough. I'm like, how do you have a business then? Surely customers come through your door, they either buy a product or a service, or they get something from you. What is that?
They have questions. They have
what is that, and why are they doing it? I mean, you don't need to be doing all these hilarious videos or trying to be like completely on trend and all this. Like, it's about providing value to the people who come through your doors.
Yeah,
and people like them.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's still about putting yourself out there, because even someone doesn't know if you don't have a massive online presence, but if you're a sales rep, and what's the first thing the person's going to do when you hand them that business card? They're going to go to Google. They're going to type in the name of the business, or So it's massively important. Every business should have a presence online, no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah, definitely.
And our last myth: hiring one person for is perfect to do for the role of sales and marketing. I suppose you see this in small businesses a lot.
Yeah.
But really, for me, sales and marketing are two completely different beasts.
It's a really pet peeve of mine. Like, if I was applying for a job and if I was scrolling through and I saw sales and marketing, I'd be like, why would I put myself forward for two jobs? Sales and marketing are completely different roles. I can understand the connection and where people see how one person can do both, but that's like, I don't know. I just think they're two very different skill sets to have in one person.
Yeah, completely.
Like a salesperson really needs to be quite extroverted. They need to be outgoing, really good with people and stuff. But you could have someone who's unbelievable at marketing who doesn't have that kind of personality for sales. There is a personality side to sales as well.
100%.
And vice versa, you could have the same situation. So I do think if you're considering getting someone and you need both of those roles filled, that even if you were like, right, I don't have the capacity to hire two people, that maybe you consider two part-time people.
Yeah.
One part-time doing marketing, one part-time doing sales. Because
as you say, the personality type or the traits for those two different roles, they're very, very, very different positions.
Very different, yeah.
Brilliant. That's our 10 myths today on digital marketing. So hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop.